All right, we're live
No, it's
with Priyashmita Guha. She is CEO at the PSL Association of India. Priya has an interesting journey. Well, she was a manager, branch manager, a senior consulting, a strategist at various companies, mostly in the HR space. She co-founded her own company in 2007, Zers Corp Services, and she's going to tell us about that adventure. Then she occupied various positions until becoming CEO at PSL of Association of India as of late. She's got a cool story to share. Priya is, yes, a business maker, marketing maven. She's industrial agnostic, a startup mentor, event architect, growth strategist, and she's supporting women in their startup journey. So this podcast is brought to you by podper.com. If you want to start your own podcast and scale it, it's the best way to get leads nowadays. My clients, they get 30 plus leads per month, 10% close rate with podcasts. And I have a special discount for you if you decide to book as of late, very low ticket offer compared to my normal high ticket offer. So you can go to podpair.com. We have a free ebook and a masterclass for you there. Priya, welcome to the podcast. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you've been up to as of late.
Thank you so much for having me, Charles. Off late, I think I've been very busy with starting this new association called PSL Association of India, which I joined about August of last year. Uh, we have a very simple goal. The current MSME lending market stands at about $750 billion, and we've got to double it to about $1.43 trillion in the next 3 to 4 years. So, a very, very exciting and a new journey for me. So that's what I have been doing off late. Very, very busy with that on a professional scale.
Right. And where did you started your journey and tell us specifically what happened at your first company that you founded?
So the first company I founded was a company called ZS Corp. That was way back in 2008 when funding startups was not really an in thing in India. So back then I raised about 4 million USD and I started a KPO there. Unfortunately, the day I started the KPO, the very next day recession was announced in US. And as you know, outsourcing works only when there is money in the other countries. But we actually managed to become a captive unit of a company back in US back then. Till 2011, we went very well. Unfortunately, then the second recession hit us, and the company we were working with declared themselves bankrupt. So overnight, we were with 40 plus employees, and we didn't have a company. So we went absolutely tanked down under and went bankrupt. So yeah, very, very different journey from what you find of startups today, long back, but inter- different journey, I would say. Failure is not something that I would recommend to anyone, and I don't like romanticizing failure. But it happened, and it taught me a lot of things and made me who I am today.
Right. And specifically, why did you decided to start a company when you were like business managers at various ventures? Did you got tired of being managed and wanted something for your own?
I think it was then that the startup. So I have been a very, my entire career has been 0 to 1 and 1 to 10. I knew how to start a business. No, not everyone knows how to start a business. Can't handle chaos. I've been quite good at it. I still enjoy it. I was just speaking to someone else the other day, and she was like, "I don't enjoy the 0 to 1 journey anymore." But then I do. I enjoy that. I enjoy making something out of chaos. And so back then, I said, why not do something of my own instead of creating the business out of chaos out of for others. That's how the entire bug hit me. That time, funding was still a very new thing in India. But I managed to raise about $4 million back then. I realized that KPO outsourcing was big that time in India, and we wanted to sort of do something on that. Uh, Unfortunately, like I said, it did not go as I planned, which is generally most entrepreneurial journey of most people in the world. Uh, but no regrets of what I did. Uh, but yeah, that was exactly what prompted me to start off something on my own because that was what I was good at starting things and taking it to a certain level.
Right. And apparently that one still lasted 4 years. Was it like a slow extinction? And how painful was it to see your company go down?
Oh no, it wasn't a slow exertion. It was like a sudden pull off of the, the, what do you call it, your oxygen. Because, like I said, we actually, when we started off and the recession hit, we still survived it because within the first 3 months we picked up the business, which we made as a captive unit for many years. So the bankruptcy was something completely sudden, out of the blue. Even 24 hours before that, we did not know that we would be hit with it. So it was a sudden jolt, to be very honest. How bad did it hit me? Terrible. Terrible in terms of not just financially it hitting me, it also personally, professionally. You don't expect, before that, in my professional career, I was always good at it. That's why I could raise, even way back in 2008, the money. It was suddenly that I failed. I did not know the concept of it. I did not think that I would fail. I think you start questioning yourself. You start questioning the world around you. Are you good enough, etc. So it was a terrible moment. But I've been extremely lucky. I keep saying that I think I went bankrupt to know how rich I am. It's my favorite quote in my life because the kind of people who came forward, which included my friends, my ex bosses, literally my life journey from failure to back to life was hardly a journey. I mean, that journey should have been a longer journey, or could have been a longer journey. I won't say should. It was a very, very smooth journey because literally ex bosses who just got up and said, and the differences, and something I learned from them is when they helped me out to get back onto my feet, they did it as if I was doing them the favor, which instead of the reverse. I still remember it. And it was literally them calling me up and said, "Hey, we need to start something, and there's no one else who's agreeing to take up this job. Can you just come back and do this for us?" And obviously, they knew what had happened to me. They did not ask me. I did not tell them. Of course, I told them some months later. Obviously, I was aware that they knew about it. But I think the journey was, people's kindness towards me. So the hit was terrible. I don't think, at least for a few months, I could not even face myself. There's something that I keep recommending, that please go for therapy. I actually ended up using therapy for myself. I think my mental health had gone for a toss. But luckily, my ecosystem around me, which was my friends, my bosses, my family, were extremely good. And so, touch wood, I managed to come back quite easily, though, of course, the failure was terrible.
And how did you turn some of these frustrations into positive actions? And also, how did you sort of return your identity from, hey, I'm a founder, I have this company, into like, hey, I'm going to work for someone else again?
First of all, how did I turn this around was the first lesson that I learned was you have to keep learning. And you have to be open for people to agreeing to help you. I think that's been one of my biggest learnings across, because what happens is when you keep on succeeding, you think you know it all, and the fact is none of us do. So I think that was the first thing I learned, that none of us know it all. And it's always okay to get up, pick up the phone, or, just give a shout out and say, hey, help me, I need to learn something. I think that has been what has stood me in good stead for the rest of my career. How was it going back to doing a job again? So luckily for me, I have always done jobs where I've been actually the business owner. So, even in my previous, all the four things that I've done since then, I was the one who started it. I was the one who took it forward. So while I had a boss to report to, it was literally like doing my own thing. So, nobody literally interfered. They said, okay, this is the goal. We want you to achieve it. And that's what I did. So right after that, whether it was the Times Group, which I joined, after that iSPIRIT, DLAI, and now PSL, it was literally like running your own business, but having the safety net of having, money and bosses around me. So it was not really very difficult. It wasn't really the usual 9-to-5 job, which we call it, where, you had a set thing to do. It was literally like setting up organizations again and again. Except it was not your own. That was the only difference, I think, in my journey after that. But yes, but it was good. I mean, I think what I really learned, I think, from my failure is accept change, accept things that is not everything is in your control. And if you start resisting and you start saying, oh God, why is this happening? You will never succeed in life. So I took it on my stride. I said, okay, listen, I've failed once, but can I pick up and can I do something else? And I did it. And I think being happy about doing something else was also very important. I think that was there.
Right. And after that, what caught my attention? Well, iSPIRIT Foundation, you're also board of director of the Raj, and mentor as well, advisor. So, like, the next phase of your career was sort of about giving back and helping, right?
Yes. So giving back and helping started with iSPIRIT. So iSPIRIT, as you know, is a think tank from India. And I joined them, and it's basically a very volunteer driven, an entrepreneur volunteer driven event. Now it has other. So there were only 3, 4 employees who were taken in. So I was one of them. I think I was the 4th employee. So I joined them from their from the second meeting. I remember they used to have a meeting every 40 days or 45 days of all entrepreneurs who would come and volunteer, etc. And the first lesson I remember Sharad Sharma, who was the co-founder of iSPIRIT, telling us, pay it forward, which meant that you have had something good in your life. It could be as an entrepreneur, somebody was good to you, etc. Now you have to pay it forward to someone else. You have to make the next set of entrepreneurs which come in have it a little easier, and with the hope that they again pay it forward. So I think that became my ethos in life, that you have to pay it forward. If someone's good to you, you can't pay back someone's being good to you. You have to hope that you do good to someone else, and then hope that the wheel keeps turning so that it becomes a massive impact. So I think that was a very, very important lesson that became my ethos in my life, in that part of why. The second, again, I learned from Sharad very importantly is because subsequently I only joined trade bodies. After iSPIRIT, I joined 2 trade bodies, and trade body, as you understand, is an industry body. You're trying to build a nation, etc. And a lesson that he taught me, and something which changed me again, was that there would be multiple bodies, etc., doing things, and everybody has their own journey. You don't have to pull someone else down to think you're the only one with the right journey. You have one way of thinking that you will do good for the nation, and another one bit. And I think this is also same for startups. It again, 2 very, very important lessons of my life. And so pay it forward and be receptive to the fact that there are other players in the market who are also doing good. You're not the only one. Don't put yourself up on a pedestal to think you're the only one doing great in this world. And I think, yes, so the next 2, from then onwards, once I had my part of my financial stability back in my life, I realized that I had to give it back. World has been kind to me, life has been kind. So how do I actually ensure that it's also good for others? So yes, that became my ethos, and that's how I, luckily the career graph took off. So that also helped.
And tell me a bit more about fintech, why you chose that market segment, how big it is in India.
Oh, it's a huge market segment. How did I end up choosing fintech? I think fintech chose me. So I've been industry agnostic, as you told me. I rarely joined the same industry twice. Reason is that I don't like I've been in sales and marketing all my life, and I don't like joining competition. So, it was always easier to change. Also, it helped me learn something new. So, I realized that when it comes to sales, products can change. If you're good in sales, if you can sell something, you can sell it. So it doesn't matter which industry you belong in. So that's how that happened. Fintech was because after iSPIRIT, my ex-boss, Alok Mittal, who's the co-founder of Indifi, was looking for a director so somebody to head DLAI, which was the Digital Lending Association. So when he reached out to me, we spoke, and since I worked with him before in my previous organization, I had set up his branch of one of his startups earlier. He said, why not? And at that point of time, it seemed, very simple. Of course, I realized after I joined in that I had to learn a lot, which included finance and technology and everything. But yes, fintech is the fastest growing market in India, also because of our, the huge population which is there. I think after US, I'm not sure of the exact market, but I think after US, we are the second largest market as far as fintech is concerned. And in India, we are, I think, the fastest growing startup sector is fintech. So that's how fintech started off. And it was interesting, both fintech and learning events, which is something I had never done in my life. It was a very interesting thing that I did in DLAI.
Right. And you mentioned a $1.1 trillion market or something like that. How come it's that big?
1.47, that's the MSME lending market. So it is currently at $750 billion. That is just the MSME lending market, which is my target is to grow the industry, double the industry in the next 3 to 4 years, which would be about $1.47 trillion. It's a huge market. So as you know, in about 1970s, the Central Bank of India, which is RBI, had identified certain sectors and said, banks need to give special focus to them so that, both for financial inclusion and increasing of GDP, out of which one was MSME lending. So it was called the priority sector lending, and out of which MSMEs fitted in. So MSMEs, as you know, in most developed and developing nations, is the backbone of any country. Most jobs come out of it. So whether it's UK, whether it's Germany, and most other countries will see that MSMEs give the maximum to GDP. In India also, it's over 30% that its contribution to GDP. So what we realized was that this is a market which needs a lot of focus right now. And if we can do it, it will not only help grow the India's, the Prime Minister has a huge role, has been telling us to grow India into one of the biggest developed nations in the next 3 to 4 years. So to do that, I think MSME growth was very important. And without capital, I don't think anyone grows. One thing I learned is that most businesses need money finally to grow it. It's not just ideas. So that's how it was. And that's where the 1.47 trillion target that we have set for ourselves, which would also hopefully translate also into the GDP as well as into jobs.
Right. And are the Indian startups ready to get these loans and pay them back? Like, what's the system to filter who's a good recipient and who's not?
So India has, first of all, there are things that we as an organization are being discussing about policy. So India, first of all, has something called a credit guarantee scheme by the government. The government has been very, very good in terms of pushing it, which is for the manufacturing unit, where the government actually guarantees certain amount of the loan that you take. But MSMEs have generally been good in paying back, the loans. Having said that, we are definitely trying to push things like e-lien, etc., which would actually have a collection control, which would give lenders a lot more safety net in terms of lending. So that's there. So that's something that we are trying to propose to the government, and we hope it goes through, which would actually lend that. Having said that, short tenure loans would actually work. So there's something called OCEN, which PSL has been pushing, which is actually an iSPIRIT product, which basically says that if you, instead of saying a 3-year loan, can you give, say, a 3-month loan, a 2-month loan, which would be a shorter tenure loan, or even, which would actually ensure that you get back your money faster, the risk is lower, the amount of money that you're giving it is lower, and you can keep on. It's called cash flow lending. So based on the cash flow, can you give a shorter tenure loan? And you keep on giving it. It's not like it's a one-time loan and that's it. So you can give in, instead of giving a total amount in 3 years, can you give a 2-week loan or a 3-week loan? And then keep on seeing, as you see them returning. See, returns are dependent on 2 things. One is ability to give back, and one is want to give back. So the want to give back, obviously, no company can ever speak about, but the ability can be, very easily checked through cash flow lending. So that's something that we've been promoting, and we hope that picks up in the next few years.
Love it. Well, Priya, thank you for being on today. Where can people find out more about you?
I think LinkedIn is somewhere that I'm now quite active. I used to be active on Twitter, but now I only use it for games. So I think LinkedIn is the place where I'm most active today, and they can find me there. So it's Priyashmita Guha.
Yeah, Priyashmita Guha and Charles Cormier for another CEO.